Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team. We take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl, 'cause we're the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins #1. Yes, we're the
Good evening, Dolphins fans. Welcome to another episode of the best, most positive banking show on the internet, the Fins Bandwagon. Good evening, Dolphin fans. Welcome to another episode of the Fins Bandwagon. I'm your host, Evan Posner, and with me, as always, is my father, Fish Tag Hank. How you doing, Hank?
I'm doing good, Junior. How are you doing tonight?
I get to be with you. That's the best part. That's always the best part.
You know, it's all about just hanging out and having a good time.
Absolutely. Everyone, welcome to the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I like to do that about 3 or 4 times throughout the show. We're continuing to grow on the Fins Talk Sports Network, so just come on and have a good time and hop on the bandwagon. So how you been keeping for the last few days? What have you been up to, Hank?
My wife has been driving. I had my mother-in-law out, which was a great pleasure to have her out. We had a good time with her, and did a couple, 2 or 3 little things here and there. She's pretty much a homebody and wants to be around family, so that's what we did. We just hung out as family and took it one step at a time. You know what I mean? Because we're not in a hurry, and neither is she anymore. So.
That's great. No, I've been back at the grind. I got a lot of vacation time throughout the summer, but now I get back to the grind of work, and I play in a softball league. I'm a captain of my team. I'm busy with that at night, but Thursday nights are always allocated to Dolphins football and the Miami Dolphins and the Fins Bandwagon. So happy to be here with you to talk about stuff. There's not always plenty to talk about here. That's the best stuff. What's up, Hammer Time?
Fins up,
there's
Hammer
always plenty
Time.
to talk about. So the topic of my show, because I always like to come up with creative episodes, is that Tua's on the bandwagon are McDaniel and Grier. And the reason I'm going to lead into that, and we'll get to Tua a bit later, and why I think he's purely on the bandwagon, and why I want to talk about Chris Grier and Mike McDaniel, is the hot topic, the hot potato that is the Miami Dolphins and the running back situation of Miami. So if we circle back a couple of months, back to April, May, the topic was we all of a sudden started seeing they signed Mostert, they signed Wilson, they had Ahmed, they had Gaskin. Then there were talk about, Bobby talked about on the show on Fins Talk Today and on East Energy Boys, how he was just doing Derrick Henry because they didn't want to re-sign him there. And then there was a talk even about Dalvin Cook and was he going to get cut or was it going to happen at the draft? Then there was rumors at the draft about DeAndre Swift and the Miami Dolphins. And there's always been this talk, and there's the Dolphins chatter everywhere about the fact that the Dolphins running back by committee. That's what McDaniel is used to. But then there's also the topic about the fact that he didn't utilize the running game, so we all wanted to have a running back. And then there was talk about the offensive line needing a bell cow running back, and there was all this talk. The last month, it was all about Dalvin Cook, and the fact that Miami Dolphins made an offer, and people were, and they were sticking by that offer, and that we weren't going to move. Then the Jets overpay. Now we have the Jonathan Taylor talk because now they've allowed him to request a trade. And who's the first team? The Miami Dolphins. And then you have the yin and yang of, no, we're not going to go get him because we don't pay for running backs, to maybe because it's a trade and it's a big wig like a Tyreek Hill and a Bradley Chubb that they're going to go do it. So with all the chatter and everything going on, how do you feel about the fact that the Miami Dolphins are back in the same soap opera drama of running backs?
That's the funny part, Evan. That's the funny part about the whole thing with this is McDaniel is used to having a McCaffrey. McDaniel is used to having a great running back, a number one to go to, and he hasn't had that. And that's, I've been saying Miami needs an all-around back to make it to the big game. You need to have an all-around back, especially when it comes down to the nuts and bolts, and you need to be making a few yards here and there and running the clock out, and you put a superstar back there like a Dalvin Cook or a JT now. Forget
JT
about it.
is a step above. JT is a step above.
Yeah, JT is probably one of the best ones out there right now that you could possibly pick up. And if you don't, what's Miami have to give up? A second round and something else. Maybe
They're looking for a first, but they're never going to get it.
They're not going to get a first. They already know that. So they'll get a second. So they get a second round pick for a first round player to begin with, whoever gets him. Yeah. So you're already getting a deal, and then probably give up a player like Agba or something like that they could give up, because that also frees up some money too.
Yeah, absolutely. No, for me, the whole JT thing, it gives me that excitement because it always makes me flash back to the moment. My kids remember this like it was yesterday. I remember exactly what I was doing. I was ready to take my kids. It was a rainy, ugly day in Montreal, Canada, and I was taking them to the local swimming pool to go meet up with a bunch of their friends. And as I'm getting ready and we're ready to leave, I get the alert: Tyreek Hill has been traded to the Miami Dolphins. I lost my bananas. I didn't know what to, I started screaming at the top of my lungs. My kids thought I got badly hurt. I started jumping on the bed like Kevin in Home Alone with popcorn in my mouth, throwing it up in the air. I couldn't believe it. Jonathan Taylor is similar to what we've all talked about with Derrick Henry. He's a game changer. And we run a raw RPO offense. You need that bell cow. And I don't want to hear about Super Bowls and who's played in them and what. This kind of mentality of this West Coast offense, this is where you don't need. I think we rushed and to sign Mostert and Wilson because maybe we didn't think we were going to be successful getting a running back. And this might be anti-Grier. I don't care. When you have the opportunity because he could have had him over Noah, and we didn't take him. The fact that he has the opportunity to right that wrong, and I understand about cap hell. I don't care about cap hell. I care about now.
Yeah, I don't want to care about cap.
Waddle. This is a guy who
the Dallas Cowboys are way over the cap every single year. Yeah. How do they get away with it? Because they don't penalize them in any way. That's how. Exactly. So guess what? Jump on there, get it done, and quit horsing around. You blew it with Cook already, over $1 or $2 million. It wasn't even worth holding out. You should have just went ahead and got him. But you know what? Now this falls in your lap. You couldn't.
Maybe that's what they were waiting for. Maybe that's what they were waiting for. Maybe they really want Jonathan Taylor. The guy's 24 years old. Last year, he still averaged over 5 yards a carry, and he was injured for part of the year. But that wasn't he's not injury prone. 2 years ago in 2021, the guy had over 15 touchdowns and over 1,800 yards rushing for a 21, 22-year-old kid. It's incredible. The guy is a power back who also has speed, runs a 4.3 40. And no matter what, I think if this happens, this is also, people are not going to talk, no one's talked about this. If he gets him, this is Stephen Ross having a push on the button. He's over 80 years old. He wants to win. This is when you're going to win. This is what you
better get this guy.
You better get this guy because if he goes if he stays with the Colts, if he stays with the Colts because the Colts are dead set on not making a deal with him or are not comfortable with all this time. But if he ends up on another team because the Dolphins
caved on that.
No, but if the Dolphins don't offer enough for this, I don't want to give up a first round pick. But if it means that we have the chance to win over the next 2 years, I might. But the thing is, maybe we have to give up a Cedric Wilson. Maybe we have to give up Emmanuel. I would love to give up. Jeff Wilson didn't go to practice. Ironically, Jeff Wilson did not practice today. We maybe wonder why. He sat out. He was nowhere near the drills. He wasn't on the field. He was nowhere to be found. He could be being held up because they don't want to get him any further injured because he might be part of the trade. You never know. Because they're going to need some running backs coming back.
Yeah, they could trade a couple of our backs along with the second rounder. Hey, I don't care what it takes. Get them on board. Yeah. Bring them in. Stop telling me this cap nightmare garbage. Yeah. I'm tired of hearing that. I'm tired of hearing it.
I want to give you a great point. We could talk about the whole thing. A lot of running. If you're a bell cow running back, and you've seen this in the league, you don't need to have a great offensive line to be successful. If we wanted to go get a top-tier offensive lineman, a Zach Martin, who was having trouble in Dallas, or you want to go get anyone else, go look what McGlinchey made in where he got signed in Denver. Look at the money he made. If you want to go get one, that would take multiple first-round picks to go get a star offensive lineman. Running backs, in theory, are a dime a dozen, but when you can get the stars, there's not going to cost you first rounders. It's easier to get a running back in a trade than it is to get an offensive lineman. We can function with our offensive line if you get a Jonathan Taylor. No one is going to say boo. And what's up, Fred? No one is going to say boo. Everyone's going to be.
Fred?
Everyone's going to do this. If you think that our running game right now, what we did against Houston, what we did last year with this current offensive line, and we did that with Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson and Savon Ahmed and Myles Gaskin. Imagine what Jonathan Taylor's going to do with this run outside zone. It's insane.
Forget about it.
And you have
to bring him in. You got to get him.
You have to. Yeah,
you got to. It's at the point of ridiculous where we need a prime time running back. The last time we had somebody was great was Ricky Williams.
Bird feeder.
Yeah, he was working over the bird feeder, but that's all right.
Yeah. No, but me, go get him.
Yeah, go get him. Pay him. So what? What?
I don't care.
Dallas.
I don't care.
If Dallas can be over the cap every year, so can everybody.
Who's more? But I'm going to ask you a tough question. If you had to have someone starting week 1, is it Jonathan Taylor or is it Christian Wilkins? One or the other. Pick one.
One or the other. I'd have to pick one.
Yeah.
I would pick Jonathan Taylor because Wilkins is a run stop.
Yeah.
He's not a complete lineman.
Yeah.
But he's a complete back.
Yeah. And I
even
have
though
a feeling
you'd be taking the spine out of the defense.
I'm convinced actually that if we sign Jonathan Taylor and that shows that we're trying to win here, Wilkins might settle for a little bit less, meaning that he wants to be part of this winning mentality. And you know what people don't realize? We're in cap hell, sure. But Tyreek Hill in two years will be off the books in terms of his salary because we're going to adjust that. But Waddle, imagine this. Waddle in his early to mid-20s, like 24, 25. Jonathan Taylor, 25, 26. Tua, 24, 25. Those are your starting 3. Are you kidding me? Yeah, any team would dream to have that. I'm not Jalen Phillips, Javon Holland. We're not losing these players. Everything will adjust itself. The Saints have been in cap hell for a decade, and somehow they make it function. I'm not worried about the freaking cap. The cap can be the only person who should worry about the cap is cap for life. Everyone else can worry about nothing else. Okay. But no, I'm living on my refresh. I'm literally living on my refresh. When's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? But the best part is everyone thinks they have a source. I don't have a source. I just want him because I want a bell cow. I just want it for this defense. I want it for Mike McDaniel, and I also want it for Chris Grier. Let Chris Grier get the notion that he doesn't go after running backs, because this will show to me that him and McDaniel are truly on the bandwagon. If JT gets traded to somebody else, if JT goes anywhere else outside of the Miami Dolphins, except for the new Indianapolis Colts, shame on McDaniel and shame on Grier, because they don't want to win now. Because they're not going to. Because right now, let's be clear, with this offense, even though it was a top 5, top 6 offense, the people still have us in a fight with the Bills and with the Jets. You sign Jonathan Taylor, I make you a bet Vegas increases our win total from 8.5 to 10.5, like that. Okay, and I'm not worried about cap. By the way, for Christian Wilkins this year, if you do sign him and you give him a bonus, you actually get more cap space this season. If you extend him now, you get more cap space. It's in the future with other contracts, but also you're not going to have Xavier Howard on the books. You're not going to have other players like that. I'm not worried about Chris Grier in the cap. He's very good at doing that. I'm convinced with him, Brandon Shore, Marvin Allen, Reggie McKenzie, they'll figure all that out. I am not worried about that. So let's just just be on the lookout. If Jonathan Taylor becomes a Miami Dolphin, which we're all hoping and convinced that he will be, there will be a really, and Frank, be ready for it. There will be a very quick, like that, live show, breaking news between myself and Bobby. I don't care where Bobby is. I don't care where I am. We're having a show. I don't care where I am. So let's look forward to that. Let's talk about Tua. Then we'll talk about some of the training camp stuff. But let's talk about Tua. Okay.
All right.
Yesterday, Tua was interviewed about something that Ryan Clark, that I saw live, said about him being thick, not following the nutritionist, insulting the guy, going after him. And Tua had a response. Before I give his response, what was your reaction to what Ryan Clark said? What was your reaction to how Tua responded? And we'll see, and I'll give you my retort.
Well, I don't like I didn't like what he had said. I didn't think it was necessary. Almost made it like he was sloughing off, like he wasn't working hard. You know what I mean? And, these guys train hard in the off season. We all know that. I mean, they say we don't see it and we don't know. Yeah, we do know. You guys work out all the time in the off season. We do know. Just because we're not necessarily in your backyard watching you doesn't mean that we don't know how athletes train. We know how you train. You train hard every year. And if you don't, it shows up on film. So, and it's showing up on film that Tua's been working out hard. Of course he's going to gain weight. No kidding. He's been working out. He'd rather be lighter on his feet, he was saying too, though. And I can understand that side of it. But, he put it to bed. He put it to bed and moved on. So I like that.
Yeah. So, Eric, I was going to bring it up midway through at the end of the show, but rest in peace, Bray Wyatt. Rest in peace to Terry Funk last night. But Bray Wyatt, what a talent, WWE. Unfortunately, there's no holds barred, but I'm sure we'll get on a special episode as soon as Alex Brown and Alfred are available. But what a talent. My generation of guy. What he did with the Wyatt family, what he did for WWE, the storytelling, it's the Fiend, what he did for all the talent around him was absolutely incredible. So to his family, to JoJo, to his wife, to his father, former IRS Mike Rotunda, to his entire family, I wish them, my thoughts and prayers are with them in the WWE at this time. In terms of Tua, I'm going to be honest. I thought he was too nice because he basically said that he was unhappy. He heard what he said. He didn't appreciate it. But then he started talking about being Samoan and being scrappy. He tried to level it down. And then he said, keep your shit out your mouth. Keep my name out your mouth. Tua was a stand-up guy. He's a good guy. And he said he learned from Michael Vick. He learned from all the people. He had to gain the weight and grow to sustain it. You don't know what he's doing. He's a thicker guy. He's always been a thick guy. He's always had a big caboose and low in the legs. Even at Alabama, he was big there. The guy is a strong kid. He wanted to get stronger so he can withstand the rigors of an NFL season. You play defensive back, where you didn't need to do that. You're not getting pounded the way Tua was getting pounded. Are you kidding me? I'm not worried about that at all. Tua's going to be able to move. Tua is going to be able to do what he needs to do. I love the way Rich Eisen refers to him as salty Tua. I want that. I want the attitude. And you want to know what? I don't mind it because Tua takes receipts and Tua remembers. And let every person insult Tua because Tua is going to make them eat those words every single Sunday. It doesn't matter. And I like the fact that Tua is brash about it. I like the fact that he's confident about it because he has the backup of superstars and his coach and his GM and his owner behind him. It's going to make a very, very, very big difference.
Well, so and then afterwards, to follow that up, then Clark comes out with this apology.
Yeah. Oh, what a fake apology that was.
So, I mean, it was kind of weird to begin with, like Tua said. I mean, why is he worrying that much about him, to begin with? But the second part, the apology was weird. It wasn't really, weird. It was kind of like he was standing up, but at the same time, kind of like he wasn't. I was a little confused by the
message something out?
Trying to get out because he was still talking about himself.
Can I point something very clear out that was kind of asinine on Ryan Clark's part? And if you think about it, he played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay. Who was his quarterback? Big Ben. Big Ben, before every game, used to put on a form of a chest plate, which they so-called girdle to protect his rib cage. But the guy was ginormous. If he took off his shirt in the dressing room, all the reporters were saying, like, belly popped out like he was pregnant. The guy was huge. So quarterbacks could be built however they want. You don't have the right to judge them. You played with one of the biggest quarterbacks in the league ever. So don't criticize Tua when you have not physically been at training camp. You don't know how he's training. You don't know why he's doing what he's doing. It's none of your business. Keep your mouth. Also, don't be. If you want to do that apology, do it live on television. I don't want to see this tweet and this fake video. Do it live in front of NFL Live. I don't want to hear.
Yeah, the same way you made the insult. Do it live.
Exactly. So, anyways, for me, Mike Tua, good for him. Just keep that receipt and go from there. Now, if we move on to Mike McDaniel today, he actually defended Tua. He talked about how he was training. That's what I like. I like a coach. You think Flo would have done that? Not a chance. The fact that he had, that's also why Tua could be brash. Mike McDaniel today, when I love Mike McDaniel for this, whether it was Jonathan Taylor talking about how anyone can write a story because he lets Chris Grier do that work, which I like that he pushes back on Chris Grier. His daughter tweets things every couple of minutes, but defending Tua and saying that how he's developed him and how proud he is of him and how you can see it. Tua looks different. Tua looks more confident. Tua looks like the fact that, oh, he's on a mission. I don't want Tua smiling. I want Tua angry. I want Tua coming into these games mean, angry, and brash. That's what I want. I want an SOB Tua. I want SOB Tua. What do you want?
I want whichever Tua throws the ball best, and if that's angry Tua, then give me angry Tua.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Tua, today at training camp in Red Zone, if you pick out any of the videos, he was throwing dimes today. He had an amazing training camp day because this is the last actual training camp, I believe. Yeah, it is. Now cameras and media are out. Now the rest are closed until the regular season starts.
Eric.
So for us, this was our last real glimpse. And I'm happy to see that the people left with a very good taste in their mouths of how Tua looks. And Mike McDaniel did say that he expects the offense to play a little bit more the first round of the first team offense come the game against Jacksonville. So we'll see what we see. But I have no bones about the fact that that Tua is on a man on a mission.
Well, and all last time the game was blacked out for me. I hope it's not blacked out again.
Oh, I pay for what they call the Zone, which is you get it in Canada, which is the NFL Game Pass. So I invest my money in that, so I watch it on there all the time. So I never miss a game.
There was one NFL Plus that they have, but that's like $100, and I'm not paying for that just to watch a preseason game.
No, but you get it for the whole season, right?
Rerun.
Yeah, but you may not get every game. I know, but for me, I love watching the games. I love to analyze them. I love to engage with them. So, and the cool part about it is, even if you miss a play, it's like a PVR, so you can actually rewind. You don't miss any of the game. Like you can actually rewind it and rewatch it, and it's great. I love it.
Well, NFL Network plays the rewind, so I'll still get to watch it.
Yeah. So at camp today, one thing that I was happy to see, because unfortunately yesterday I didn't like what I saw. Things are cheaper in Canada. I love it. I love things cheaper in Canada. Move to Canada, everything's cheaper. But I got Zach Sealer yesterday during training camp, hurt his leg. God, oh God, this guy's making $3.2 million with bonuses. The guy is such a steal. I think he's the best bargain on this team. He was flexing it. He kept on going back in and out. I don't know why they were. It was nice to see him out. I hope they shut him down till the regular season as well, because we cannot afford to lose Zach Sealer on that D-line, because the D-line doesn't have the depth to begin with, and Zach Sealer is the best bargain, like I said, on this team. And I'm happy that they sat him out, because I'm telling you, he's been the all-star of this training camp. Outside of Christian Wilkins before he started to hold out, Zach Sealer on that defense was making a mockery of the offensive line. It's amazing.
Fins up, What's thirsty.
Up, What's up? So it's amazing. Yeah. So I'm happy they sat him out. The biggest positive, and I was shocked to see it today, he woke up from the living dead, and then what's his name was talking about him today, Mike McDaniel, raving about him, and Raekwon Davis got an orange jersey. Raekwon, where's Raekwon been? I've been looking for. I was in Florida, and I was looking for a 6'6", 300-pound nose tackle all throughout Baptist Health, and I couldn't find him. He arrived today. Our nose tackle actually, he said he could not have better things to say about Raekwon Davis. How nice was it to know that Raekwon Davis is finally stepping up?
Well, it's time. It's time for him to step up. He didn't have to step up before that. He was taking his chill time. Now he's stepping up.
Wake up now. And he also went to Tua's defense, his Alabama teammate, saying how the guy, you have no idea how hard that guy works.
As long as when game time comes, these guys perform, it doesn't matter if they're out picking their nose all night, for all I care.
Yeah. And ironically, Dolphin Thirsty has arrived. So we're going to talk about the trade that he didn't want to happen. But all of a sudden, also this week in camp, You know who's awoken and it made a mockery of Kendall Lamb? We all talked about how Kendall Lamb, I think he should be our swing tackle. The guy's fine. But yesterday's practice, all everyone came away with was Kendall Lamb never looked more frustrated and upset with himself because every time he went one-on-one with Bradley Chubb put him on his butt. Bradley Chubb must have had 4 or 5 sacks during 11-on-11 yesterday. It was absolutely incredible. This is the Bradley Chubb we drafted. Vic Fangio has lit a fire under this kid. And I'm telling you, whether it's him or whether it's Phillips, one of them is going to get double-digit sacks this year.
Maybe both.
Yeah. So, Thirsty, what do you think about that? Bradley Chubb finally waking up. Maybe I can send him some videos of Dolphins chatter to egg him on a little bit. You know what I mean?
Hey, Thirsty, everybody can be wrong.
Yeah. No, but now that they've activated Tanner Connor, let me ask his chat. Tanner Connor, 15 is still on the table. Do you still believe that?
Yeah. If he makes the team, I still believe it because somebody's going to be the recipient in the end zone.
Yeah. Well, right now we know a tight end. It's either going to be Durham Smythe and then et cetera. It could be Julian Hill. It could be Tanner Connor. It could be Eric Saubert's injured right now. We don't know. Elijah Higgins' experiment hasn't necessarily worked. So you never know what's going to happen there. So you always root for the launch. Oh, thirsty. No, so for me, Bradley Chubb, that's all I want to see. The defense, these defensive guys who have been quiet are coming through towards the end of training camp. That's what you want to see. I don't want them to start off high and low. I want them to be coming up with their momentum heading into the regular season. There's been ups and downs. The defense, Vic Fangio is developing what he needs to. Cam Smith is coming back. Kader Kohu's coming back. They're all battling. Eli Apple. That's what I also love. I love the competition at corner because it breeds competition. They all know that this is potentially their job that they can.
Hey, this is it. Jobs. Everybody's jobs on the line. Come this weekend. Come Saturday. So
yeah, they have. I can't wait for Tuesday. I cannot wait for Tuesday to see when they start cutting down the roster because I'm sure we're all gonna. There's going to be a lot of disagreements, but from what I can see, the defense is coming along. As long as the players are resting, we want to see the first series team. But as many players who we know have any sense of being banged up, whether it's Jalen Waddle, whether it's Zach Sealer, whether it's I don't care who, whether it's Kader Kohu who still needs a little bit of rest. I don't care if anyone who needs a little bit of rest, as long as they've shown themselves in 11-11 and 7-on-7 on all the drills. That's all I want to see, that they're showing some development. That's all I want to see, and that they're slowly getting healthy. Because right now, we can't afford to have any injuries. We have to have the perfect 53-man roster heading into LA for Game 1 of the season. Now that we're heading into the third game, what is your, even without Jonathan Taylor, what do you have right now? Do you have a sense that this team is doing better than you expected? Like the sense you have for this team from the beginning of training camp to now, are you less confident, more confident, not before Jonathan Taylor, less confident, more confident with your expectations for the team this season, or are you still you still feel the same?
I'm less confident. Than I was. I thought we'd go 15-2. Now, if you get Jonathan Taylor, I think we go 15-2. But right now, Dolphins lost a step. When you lost Dalvin Cook into your division, you lost a step in your division is what you did. And that opens up a whole other gambit where we might take a loss from the Jets. Whereas before they had Cook, I had us beating them twice. Now it's kind of a coin toss a little more now that they have Dalvin Cook. I mean, he is a 1,000-yard rusher for crying out loud, and he wasn't behind a great line before. So I do like us to be able to move the ball, and if you get Jonathan Taylor, that'll fix it. And I think we'll have a real shot at the Super Bowl if you get Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor, let's make it very clear. No prognosticator in this division, every analyst is going to change their tune. You add Jonathan Taylor to this team, the Miami Dolphins would be an utter disappointment. It would be completely all those heads, whether it's Colin Cowherd or all the people, Skip Bayless of the world. I don't care. Anyone who's hard on the Miami Dolphins will say that they are expected now. We're gonna take a step above everybody else. Well, yeah, Ben's back. I made him come back. I paid him off Thursday. I paid him off, but no, he makes all the difference in the world. But let me ask you right now: do you put the lack of signing the running backs and the development of and getting more star players on the offensive, whether it's running game, wide receiver, we've done it, offensive line is whatever. But do you feel like the whole running back saga, do you put that more on Grier or do you put that more on McDaniel?
Oh, it's definitely more on Grier. I mean, he's been here forever, no doubt. Grier tends to look at the running backs last, and that's why he's in the 12th hour trying to make deals with everybody for a 3-down back. And that's what he's trying to do now, is come up with a miracle. And the miracle shined right in his face now because the Colts can't contain JT. So guess what you should do? Don't sit there and look at it don't sit there and look at it too long, because it might not, that availability might not be there as long as you think.
Yeah. I'm going to respond to that. But he asked, and I actually mentioned this early Thursday. Maybe we weren't on the show yet. I said, right now, 9.5 is fine with me under the current roster. I still expect them with this roster to pick up 11 to 12 wins. If they sign Jonathan Taylor, it's going to be 10.5 without even blinking an eye. It makes, if they get Taylor, it's going to go 10.5. 10.5 over. I'm telling you, it's a 13-win
it'll
team.
Go up.
It's a 13-win team without even blinking.
Bets are already in.
Because also, you know what happens? Because I want to make it clear. If Waddle, or under the current roster, if Waddle gets hurt, we take a hit with the current roster. If Tyreek Hill gets hurt, we're still Waddle on the field. The team takes a hit. If Waddle or Tyreek take a game off and one of them is playing with Berrios and with Chosen and with Craycraft but Taylor's on the field, we're still a phenomenal team, because you can win. Tennessee did this forever with Derrick Henry. The Colts, when the Colts were winning games without Andrew Luck and they were winning these games, Jonathan Taylor was without a full healthy Andrew Luck, with Phillip Rivers, ran for 1,800 yards and 15 touchdowns. But that's what people need to understand. Is with Phillip Rivers, he ran for 1,800 yards. He has Tua, he has Waddle, he has Hill. It's going to be insane. No one's ever going to expect the run or the pass. That's the point. Every time he's on the field, you're never going to know what's going to come. The motions are going to get even scarier. And also, Taylor, we'd love to go to Miami. He trains in Miami. He's here. I understand that other people have it. I understand they don't like to pay running backs. If someone told me tomorrow, would you pay Jonathan Taylor $12 to $14 million to pay running back for the Miami Dolphins? Where do I sign the check? Stephen Ross. It's not about Stephen Ross. It's all on Chris Grier. You want to win? Do you want to be anointed? I'm telling you, he doesn't realize. I'm not putting in. Don Shula is forever because of the set perfect season and winning Super Bowls in Miami. Dan Marino didn't even win. If he brings a Super Bowl to Miami, Brett Lagasse from this network and Bobby Melendez will be the first to bow down to Chris Grier's feet, saying, "I'm not worthy," like Wayne's World. If they bring in Jonathan Taylor, okay, you don't understand. If he wants to get the two and everyone around him rallying and understand. He's already been there he's already made mistakes and people still defend him. If he wants to get people really rallying around the Miami Dolphins and don't have the trolls anymore, go prove everyone wrong and go get Jonathan Taylor, because the haters are criticizing you that you don't go make the big moves in the key areas like running back. If you go do it, it's going to make all the difference in the world. What do you think?
I think it'll make all the difference in the world, like you just said. Having a back like Jonathan Taylor, that'll give you a 1, 2, and 3, and then you have all that speed with your other running backs. Forget, you put two of them back there and split them out with your wide receivers. What are you going to do? Who are you covering? I mean, it gets mind-boggling when you think about what would happen if they had them, on the team. Exactly. They want to give Taylor too much money, but weren't willing to give Cook $1 to $2 million.
I don't. I because you want to know why? Because Dalvin Cook has been. Dalvin Cook's a 4-time Pro Bowler over 1,000 yards, but he has been injured. He's 28 years old. Derrick Henry is because Derrick Henry is Derrick Henry is making 17 at a different level. Saquon Barkley's a little younger. Austin Eckler's a little younger. Josh Jacobs is younger. Jonathan Taylor is younger than all of them, and he's the last guy to run besides Derrick Henry for that many yards. Jonathan Taylor is a difference maker. Dalvin Cook wasn't the difference maker on his team. He was a compliment to Justin Jefferson the last 2-3 years. Jonathan Taylor is the star of that football team. So you get Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor at his age, at his level, is the equivalent of Tyreek Hill. He is at the running back. There's only one running back stronger than him, but older than him, and that's Derrick Henry. Outside of Derrick Henry, there's not one running back I would want more on my team than Jonathan Taylor. So if you can go get him, go get him. I don't care. By the way, Cook may not see it that way, but Cook is going to be splitting the snaps with if he was coming to Miami, Hall. He would. No, let's be clear. Cook was going to be sharing the load with Breece Hall. Let's get that very, very clear. It's going to be a competition. It's going to cause trouble in that room. Him coming here was going to be the reason they only offered him $4 million is they didn't think he was ready to be the only bell cow running back. And they were going to still compliment him. He would be the lead back, but they still were going to use A-Chain. They still were going to use Mostert. They were still going to use those players. People realize Raheem Mostert is going to be made. Is going to be when we get Jonathan Taylor, Mostert will be might be using kick returns. He'll be a complimentary back. A-Chain will be able to be used more on special teams, develop him. That's what's going to happen. And then Gaskin, Ahmed, they're complimentary players. They're nice players. They had a great game on Saturday. They had a great game 2 weeks ago. Great. It's not the same thing. Jonathan Taylor is your bell cow. Cook is not a bell cow. If people really thought that Dalvin Cook was a bell cow, a singular one-time receiver, a singular guy, he would have been signed much earlier. Miami would have given him the $7-8 million. Jonathan Taylor is on a different level. He's at the Derrick Henry level of the NFL for what he's doing. Okay? Trust me, that's where people see him. He's at that level. So for me, that's what I feel about that. Like Cook, I'm not worried about.
I'm
Dalvin
not
Cook.
arguing with you. I totally agree. Give them money and bring them in. I want a Super Bowl. I want a Super Bowl, and Miami needs a 3-down back. I plan because I made this comment a couple last year, and I can't believe Bobby's brought me over. I said I don't want to sacrifice the team for 1 year Super Bowl and then potentially a couple of average years versus a consistent good team. Trust me, if they can get to the Super Bowl, I will be the first person picking up pots at my place in Hallandale Beach, Florida. Then I'm driving down to Hialeah, picking up some pots from Tammy and Ralph. Ralphie boy, I wish you were watching the show tonight. I heard you guys got to go to training camp. So I have some videos of you. Hope you had a wonderful time at training camp today. The wonderful people who raised this wonderful boy named Bobby Melendez. A few of you guys know him. We wouldn't be here without him. So thank you, Bobby. I'll be the first guy banging pots in Miami. So you want to know what? Win. Because you know what happens if we don't win? You know the word for it? If we don't win with the current roster, we're in trouble anyways in a couple of years, potentially. Exactly.
You might as well go all in anyways.
You might as well, because one way or another, if we don't make it there, and that's what they're starting to realize is McDaniel needs that talent to make his system work. Yeah. He's used to having other running backs that had the talent when they were younger. I mean, we have a couple of them, but those weren't the starters. Yeah. Now, we're talking now you have a chance to get JT. I go get JT all day long.
I'm going to be flipping that refresh all day long. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's think about it. I always like to say this as our last segment. We're not just part of the Dolphins bandwagon. We're part of the overreaction bandwagon.
Wait a minute.
Overreact over something. Overreact over something that is making you happy, making you angry, making you sad. What about anything Miami Dolphins related? What over the last week has gotten you to the point where you need to overreact about your team. Like,
I'll tell you right now, if my team gets JT, you will see me go nuts. I will go crazy. I don't know what I'll do, but I'll
join the
go
breaking
nuts
news
over
show wherever you are. I don't care if you're at the pool having a margarita. You're joining the breaking news show wherever you are.
it. Well, you
Bobby,
gotta
prepare the
let
graphics
me know
already.
it's happening because I don't always know. I might be in there taking one of my grandpa naps.
I know.
Yeah. You and those kids run me ragged.
Yeah. No, the thing that I want to overreact about, and Thirsty just stole my thunder a little bit. Thank you, Thirsty. Is I love the fact that every single day, Miami, Miami, Miami. Everyone's coming to Miami. Everyone. You want to know what? That's the best thing for me. I wake up every day, and I'm a Canadian, and all I get is on my alerts: Miami Dolphins this, Miami Dolphins that, Miami Dolphins this, Miami Dolphins that. The bandwagon is here to stay. What's going on in Miami Dolphins land is fun. Even if things don't always work out, it's fun that we got to be there because it's better to be invited to the party and have to leave a bit early than not get invited at all.
Yeah.
And you just want a chance to be at the dance. And for me, people have asked me, and I've been watching Hard Knocks. Number one, I don't need to vomit. I don't like the color dark green. Okay. I like aqua. I like light green. I don't like dark green. And anything Jets green makes me want to vomit. So I will watch something else besides Hard Knocks.
Definitely, Anthony. I agree with you. JT would make us cross the line.
Exactly. So for me, you want to know what happens? I'll tell you, put it to you this way. My overreaction will be that if we don't get JT and he ends up in any color except the horseshoe, you will see me going bananas on Chris Grier and Mike McDaniel. And they will be officially and permanently banned from the bandwagon. They will not be allowed to hook a rail. They will not be able to wave me down in the middle of the hot sun of Miami. I don't care where they are. They will never they'll never have a seat on the bandwagon. They will never. They better make this happen. And another team better not come with a better offer. If Chicago or Denver come in with a first rounder, you give them 2 firsts for all I care. You get Jonathan Taylor on this team because right now, heading into this season, with all the uncertainty that we have, the people are still unsure of us. You got a superstar in Vic Fangio. You have got a great team on paper, but we need star power. Right now, where Miami is the star capital of people want to be in South Beach. Bring him to South Beach. Bring him to a team that can utilize him where he is going to be so motivated to win a Super Bowl. Because you want to know what? Also, people have this echelon of Kansas City, Cincinnati, Buffalo, and then there's the next level. And Miami's bunched in there with the 7 teams. And there's not enough playoff spots. You get Jonathan Taylor, they're up there. They're up. They are in the top 4. They probably even surpass the Buffalo, because what else do you want? You can't go get certain positions. If you have the chance to change your team with a running back, I don't care if you have to overpay for him. He's a different kind of animal. He's phenomenal. He's a talent. Go get him. Christmas is coming in August for the Miami Dolphins, not in December. Get Jonathan Taylor, or you're permanently off the bandwagon. McDaniel and Grier. You can go to I don't care. Go to the F's of the earth. I will be the first person lining up to put you in the unemployment line if we don't succeed at the end of this season, because you're putting your eggs in a very, very delicate basket. Because God forbid, knock on wood, Tua misses a game. Mostert, Wilson, we saw this last year. Mostert, Wilson, that is not going to win you a football game with that running game and Skylar Thompson. It might get you close, but it ain't going to guarantee you a win. You can win football games with Skylar Thompson and Mike White, Jonathan Taylor, Jalen Waddle, and Tyreek Hill. 100%. You have a better chance of winning football games if Tua can't play one game or two. With Jonathan Taylor back there, you're for sure not going to win if you have Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson and your backup quarterback. Because you're the one who even said on Pins Talk today, that you believe that they can keep us in games, but they can't win us football games. You're the one who actually said that. To take the words out of your mouth.
Yep. I believe they can keep us in games. Now, can we sit there and assume they'll win us games? No, but if you put a Jonathan Taylor in there, I believe you can win with anybody behind that line.
Yeah. And by
That's
the way, Joe
difference.
Rose, and Joe Rose, to let everybody know, is one of the most negative Miami Dolphin workers you'll ever meet. He is critical of everything Miami Dolphins, and he works for the Miami Dolphins. So I'm keep concerned about his mileage. Joe Rose knows. I take Joe Rose at the same breath as I take Ryan Clark now.
Well, he doesn't have too much mileage to have on the team for 2 or 3 years. So
exactly, it's nothing.
Bring him in.
Bring him in.
Bring him in on a two-year contract.
Have you seen how much more relaxed? Have you seen how much more relaxed Vic Fangio is? His scowl is a little bit turning into a smile living in Miami. Next to
I don't know about that. It might be getting straight across like mine. By the way, mine's always straight across or down.
I used to be I used to have no interest in watching coordinator press conferences. I don't know what it is. I am enthralled by every word that Vic Fangio says. It is so refreshing to have that guy on the defense. Offense, it was boring. Brian Flores being scowl, but offense is because I'll put it to you this way: I run a business, okay, where the sales is the fun part, operations is the best part. I like having my smile, where people are saying you're so nice and happy when things are going well and you're pushing, but when it's operations, why are you such an a-hole? Why are you yelling at everybody? My wife always says to me, why are you yelling at these people? I go, because they're causing me headaches on the operations side, and it's driving me bananas. One is the nice part, and one is the one is the glue that keeps things together. The defense is the glue of the team. You want that mean, gruff, grumpy old man managing that defense. And that's what Vic Fangio is. It's the best. I love it. I smile ear to ear every time when he says the defense sucks, I love it. Because he is so accountable for this. This defense is gonna make Justin Herbert he's making he got a $52 million, making $50 million a year. Vic Fangio in the first game is gonna make him lose 52 yards. Not just 52 million, 52 yards. That's what I think. So
what else you got, Evan? What else you got?
I don't know much else. I'm just such a good mood. I'm just waiting for Jonathan Taylor to be signed tonight. I don't know. Any chance? I hate this waiting game. And I want to be in a good mode. They always catch me off guard. I want to be ready for it. So I could just jump. I want to be ready. Because I want to wake up Bobby at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Hit you bam in the face when you wake up and suddenly realize that Jonathan Taylor's on the team.
Okay. I need to tell you a story about Brandon Waller. Brandon Waller is one of my good buddies who works for a supplier out in North Carolina. The guy is the best. One of my big buddies. Love this guy. Love this guy. Thank you for watching the show, buddy. But Joe Rose. I don't want to hear anything about Joe Rose. I turn off. I have nothing good to say about that man. I have no idea why. I don't know. Anyways, any final words before we head out?
No, I want to thank everybody for coming out with us. I had a great time tonight with you, Evan. I appreciate you leading us and driving us while I'm just the backseat driver. I'm not leading.
No, you're my backseat driver. I love it. I always know where I'm going. But I just want to say, we're going to leave Finns Talk today for you to talk about the Jacksonville game. I don't want to steal any of your thunder. But guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Finns Talk today is coming up this weekend. We're going to we'll have a post-game show after the Jacksonville game because we're going back with our post-game shows. Then we'll back on Monday with East 10th Street Boys and with the Beer and Sports Podcast and Real Talk Finns Talk, Fast Break. Hopefully we'll find a show to do No Holds Barred. I'm going to reach out to Alex Brown and Alfred to see if we can do a show with WWE and Bray Wyatt and talk about the history and all that kind of stuff and what he meant to the WWE. There'll be so let's see what happens there. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Bobby, thank you. Thirsty, Anthony, Ender, Brandon, Ben, thank you for watching the show. We really appreciate it. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. And always, as we always say, fins up.
Fins up.